Can everybody hear everybody?
Yep.
So we're
Perfect.
live?
Time is
Mhm.
7:08.
Let me confirm for you.
Just one moment.
Is there other people joining too, Jay?
No.
We're live, Sterling.
Great.
We'll be
Wanna know
broadcasting it live here. He's going to just give us one moment and just to confirm that we're live streaming. We have Alex Henderson on attendees. He's just in the waiting room with a green room. And
We feel important.
we're live. Okay.
We're set to go?
At 7:09. Yes.
Perfect. I'd like to call this meeting to order. After looking at the agenda, I'd like a motion of council to approve meeting versus via use of electronic means using Zoom, given the current directives of the province of New Brunswick regarding the COVID-19 pandemic. Do I have a motion?
I'll
move.
make that motion.
Moved by Councillor Harris, seconded by Councillor Murray. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Opening prayer. Deputy Mayor Harris.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to gather here this evening. We pray that for each of our citizens in the town during this difficult time, Lord, protect them and keep them safe from harm. Be with our essential workers, strengthen them, keep them so they can continue the important work they are doing. Be with our leaders and with us here this evening as we make decisions on how to proceed and go forward from here. In your blessing and wonderful name, amen.
Amen. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make the motion to move the agenda.
Motion
I'll
made
second
by
it.
Councillor Allison, seconded by Councillor Murray. All those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Approval of minutes of previous council meetings, regular meeting of council, March 9th, 2020.
I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes.
I'll second it.
Motion made by Councillor Allison, seconded by Deputy Mayor Harris. All those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Special meeting of council, March 16th, 2020. Do I have a motion?
I'll make
I'll
that
make-
motion.
I'll second it.
Motion made by Councillor Murray, seconded by Councillor Allison. All those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Any conflict of interest? Hearing none, I'll move forward. Fire report, St. George Fire Department. Do we have Justin or are you going to read? Sterling?
Oh, I can do it.
Okay,
For the month of March, we responded to 9 incidents. 3 incidents were inside of town and 6 incidents were outside of town. St. George Fire Department held a regular 1 monthly meeting. No training sessions were held due to the COVID-19. Both stations 1 and 2 have been closed for public effective March 17, 2020. Only St. George Fire Department members are permitted in the station because of the COVID-19. Prepared PPE kits placed on the trucks. Currently 2 PPE kits per truck. These kits consist of 1 disposable long sleeve gown, 1 pair of safety glasses, 4 pairs of medical gloves, N95 mask, and bottle of hand sanitizer, with instructions on how to don and doff the equipment. We are treating every medical call as if the person or family member has been come in contact with the COVID-19 and are using their PPE for every medical call. We have a limit of 4 first responders at all calls, 2 inside and 2 out. Those members are to return back to that station and follow the proper decon procedures following that call. New sign-in sheets have been put in place at both stations for non-fire related visits. These sheets will help us in the event that one of our members happen to contact COVID-19. We then will be able to give better instructions to those who are in the station to self-isolate and disinfect everything that person may have come in contact with. Grass fire season has started. Numbers have been down from previous years so far, and that's great. Also, too, the guys in the station trying to boost their morales in any way they can. They have been out doing some stuff in the fire department. They've been doing paintings on the walls. Just give you an example, just going out through the door, says, through these doors past the very best firefighters in the world, heritage, service, and pride. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's taken right from the top of the thing. So somebody painted that and put that up, which is great, which kind of boosts morale, makes things more bearable in the situation we're into. The other one's going up the stairs, and on each stair it says, I will always place the task first. I will never accept defeat. I will never quit. I will never leave a brother behind. I don't know if you can see that or not.
Yeah.
That's going up the stairs. It's kind of nice. Number one job, St. George Fire Department. Then they got a couple more right inside the, I don't know if you can see that or not, but it just boosts the morale a little bit, gives them a little bit of, when the encouragement, when they go in through. I mean, we forget sometimes, like when Jason was talking about his report, he said, now we have to really change the way we fight fires. We're going to have to, be a little bit more careful on how we put on our PPE, how we use it, different procedures to put in place. I mean, the guys can't even go down and have a chat at the fire department now because of such situations that we're in. So anyway, the last one, it says, in this house, we love, we are brothers, we forgive, we give hugs, we have fun, we give second chances, we say, I'm sorry, we make mistakes, we are real. And I don't know if you can see that or not. But anyway, hats off to them guys. You guys been doing a great job. Continue to do it. Thank you very much for the job you've done. That's all I have, Your Worship.
Thank you. Yes, and thank you to every one of them. Building and Planning Report, Southwest New Brunswick Service Commission.
We'll bring on Alex Henderson.
Hi all, can you hear me?
Can hear you, can't see you, Alex.
Great. Okay, thank you. The development report. In March, we met with the applicant and CEO to go over another subdivision proposal. We reviewed several subdivision files and communicated with the CEO about the need to simplify the town of St. George's existing subdivision bylaw. In order to streamline approvals, not have to go through development agreements for each and every subdivision. So in that frame of mind, we developed a new draft subdivision bylaw for town council's consideration. And I've submitted a separate brief to council and a draft bylaw for your consideration. And I think that's under new business on your agenda. The PRAC, the Planning Committee, is meeting virtually this Thursday to consider the legal private access subdivision related to the new animal shelter proposal. And also a variance related to a larger than permitted garage in a residential zone on South Street. PRAC files may be viewed online, and instructions for the public on how they can attend the meetings can be found by visiting www.snbsc-planning.com. It'll actually be in the exact same format as this council meeting is being held right now. And people will be able to participate just the way I participated as a attendee. And the PRAC will be the panelist, just as council's the panelist right now. So development update, no new building or development permits issued to date in 2020 in St. George. Region-wide, it's been quite slow with the pandemic. But we still are doing building inspections. We have 3 subdivision applications to date, 2020. And as I said, all our functions are continuing remotely where possible. And we are following provincial directives and also doing things like holding off on final inspections, not going into people's homes, for example, to avoid contact. Construction is still considered an essential service. One site has communicated to us about the entry limitations due to pandemic concerns. This is a industrial site, and we're going to comply with their requests for entry. Enforcement update: we worked with the CEO on zoning bylaw interpretations as they relate to enforcement inquiries, and we had sent one reminder letter to a property owner who built a structure without a permit. We received the application for that structure, and at the time of this report, it had not been issued at that time. So thank you very much, Your Worship.
Thank you. Okay, moving on, presentation and delegations. EMO status update with COVID-19 in the town of St. George. Jason.
So this is just a quick presentation to bring council and the residents up to date, just in regards to the pandemic of COVID-19. Just a little bit of a synopsis of what we've had. A lot has changed since the meeting that we had in March. So in late February, with the growing new news reports, I started some discussions with some other towns, other CAOs, and as well the provincial EMO. We kind of foreseen there were some things coming. Certainly, had no expectation of what was coming, or didn't quite understand this whole pandemic that we're in now. But we knew that there's certainly something to take seriously at that point in early March. So on Monday, March the 9th, I instructed Public Works Fire Department to look at supplies that need to be replenished, make orders on required consumables that may be required over the next 2 months. So we want to certainly, not to say stockpile, but we want to ensure that any consumables that we typically use, such as chlorine for our water system, could be some medical kits for the fire department, to make sure that we had those on stock, just to anticipate any issues with the supply chain. Want to make sure that we maintained the water and sewage systems appropriately. Wednesday, March the 11th, first communication from the town hall to council and the residents with a news release regarding COVID-19. That's when we started to advise the public that we were closing the public buildings, Macadavic, as well as the town hall, to the public. And just to let people know what we're doing there, where we are cycling through administrative staff each day. There's at least one administrative staff that's here at the town hall taking phone calls, but we're not taking anyone at the windows or taking any payments directly at the town hall at this time. Much the same with Public Works. We're cycling through our Public Works having 2 on and the other ones being on active on call, just to sort of ensure that we have a bit of maintain social distancing, but just to sort of not preventing contamination within the workforce. On Monday, March 16th, all schools in New Brunswick were announced to be closed for 2 weeks at that time, and also on March the 16th, that's when the province first confirmed its first case of COVID-19. On the 17th, we elevated the EMO status here in the town to level 1 active monitoring. And with a couple of days later, the province itself came out and set a state of emergency. So at that point, certainly heightened state of emergency. And from then on, we started pretty much consistently receiving updates from the province and weekly phone calls that myself and Acting Mayor Avery, we've been doing with not only public health, public safety, but we've been in communication with the local attachment of the RCMP. And just to sort of bring back the authority of this pandemic is with the province, public health, public safety. Certainly it's their directives that we're following. And certainly we've been communicating back up to them of any issues, any supply issues. I've been talking weekly, if not daily, with some of the retail operations, especially the grocery store we have in town, pharmacies, in regards to any concerns that they have. So again, there's been a lot of communication there. March the 20th, we put out our second news release, and in that we advised that all the recreation fields, courts, and playgrounds were closed to the public, and put some signage there and ribbons just to announce that those were closed. Jump ahead to April 1st, as we threw out our third news release, and that's when the province came back and said that the schools would remain closed until September. And if you look at today, April the 14th, there's 113 cases in the province, 26 in our zone, zone 2, with no known cases in our community at this point. So, we certainly monitor daily what's going on. We've had great communication with EMO, public safety, and so certainly we've certainly been trying to follow the directive as well as anyone else to maintain social distancing and make sure that our workforce is safe and able to maintain the services to the residents. So that's my presentation, and just to give everyone an update, and certainly keep monitoring this as we go.
Thank you, Jason. General reports, general government and personnel. Seems like probably not a whole lot has been going on, but behind the scenes, Jason and I have been working hard. Here's a little bit of updates for you. The town is having weekly calls to the province's Department of Health and Department of Public Safety. In addition, last week, the town had a call from the RCMP regarding local initiatives and concerns raised regarding enforcement of the provincial directives. The province has a COVID-19 query line. It's 844-462-8387. While all recreation courts and fields and playground remains closed, the public, the walking trails remain open. That includes Ducks Unlimited as well. During this period, Public Works remains dedicated to maintain the town services, such as water and sewage service, as well as snow clearing. Hopefully we won't have much more of that. To date, there has been no negative impacts. Given the directives of the province and a number of smaller projects that are being completed around the town hall, such as electrical improvements, security cameras, painting, tree clearing, and work on drainage. We have made application to the province for a new building for Canal Beach. A new building will replace the old canteen and feature a canteen/kitchen with 2 washrooms. The project will seek funding via the gas tax fund for the parish of St. George and is estimated at $70,000. Additional work will be done to the beach in the spring, such as landscaping. Macadavy Center. During the period, the building has been closed and a number of small projects are being completed, such as waxing floors and painting rooms. The Day Adventure Center parking lot will be reopened to the public this week. I believe it was open today. The parking area had been closed to the public through the winter in an effort to reduce loitering and littering. Boaters are encouraged to visit the province's website regarding the delay in opening of the fishing season. Over the last week, the town has received notice that its application for funding under the Integrated Bilateral Agreement, IBA, for a rebuild of the Day Adventure Center site was declined. The total project cost was $936,900. The province does not anticipate another call for interest for funding for this year. However, the town application will be kept open for future. A number of projects are progressing despite the obstacles from the pandemic. The sewage lagoons upgrade, the development of well number 6, and upgrade of well number 2, as well as the planned resurfacing of Main Street. However, some initiatives are experiencing delays due to temporary closures, such as installation of air ventilation system for the fire hall. And I do have a couple of questions, Jason. Main Street, when will that be?
Yep, we should be looking at tendering that out the end of this month, probably the first, more so probably the 1st of May.
Okay. Was the Day Adventure Center reopened today?
It was.
It was. So when do we put the docks back in?
Once the water recedes.
Okay.
July, yeah.
Okay, good. Anybody have any questions?
I'll just add, Your Worship, I'll just add one item. We have had residents asking about garbage and recycle pickup, and I know that we've shared with within council that those services will still be maintained, and we've been speaking with the Regional Service Commission. And as of right now, there's no anticipated stoppage of pickup of garbage and recycling. So I think unlike some other areas, I know they've stopped the blue bin pickup, but we're going to continue with blue bin pickups as well.
Great.
Good.
Okay. So next is
When
community
do we plan
services.
to see the work start at Canal?
The approval would have to be done first for the building.
Okay, we
but
haven't
some
got the approval yet.
No, and so landscaping will have to, that'll start probably as soon as the end of this month. We'll start doing some landscaping. One thing.
And that will be our crew that does that.
Yes, yeah. One thing we're looking to do is this year with that as well is to add some more picnic tables and clear some vegetation.
Okay. Anything else?
That is all.
Okay.
Nope.
Community services. I have nothing to report due to the pandemic. All events and activities for the next while has been canceled. We will keep everybody updated on when the next fun event will be. Water and sewage, Acting Deputy Mayor Harris.
The average water consumption for March was 54 cubic meters for a total of 5749 cubic meters. There was no E. coli or toluchloroform reported. The audit scheduled for March was canceled by the Department of Environment. The asphalt at the old tower site has been removed, and we hope to put the topsoil and hydroseed in this spring. The gate at well number 4 was leveled after frost heave. A new chlorine injection was installed at well number 5. A down tree was removed from the fence at the tower. We have met with CBCL on the refurbishment of service lift station number 3 on Route 172, as well as we have set elevations on the marsh behind well number 4 and 5 with information on the SCADA that'll make sure that, whether the marsh is level at the same time as the wells. This will show that the well levels are dependent on the levels of the marsh. I guess I just said that. So in the water, the marsh. The 2-inch water line was drained on the new building section of Maui. Water leak lateral was repaired by contractors on Brunswick Street. This was a hodgepodge. I guess that's a kind of a neat word to say, but there's a lot of pipes down in the ground, so some of them were removed. Lift station number 8 and 9 had the pumps pulled because of debris. They were also cleaned and vacuumed out. The station on the Macadamia Drive has had issues with styrofoam pellets, and I'm not sure where they're coming from. So we monitored it after it was cleaned. So we're trying to find out where these pellets are coming from. Lagoon results were high for March, which may be from pond turnover. The heavier cold water sinks and the bottom water rises. So that's probably why there was a little bit of high for March. So that's all I have, Your Worship.
Thank you. Transportation, Councillor Cook, I believe. Jason, you're going to read that?
Yep. For the transportation report submitted by Melanie Foreman for March of 2020, we have been using rotating shifts to limit exposure during the pandemic. We have begun to remove winter equipment such as the 2-ton sander and the wing off the dump truck and bring the sweeper up from the lagoon. The landscape trailer was also returned from the lagoons when it was put in for winter storage. A down tree at Canal was cut up and removed. A stop sign was repaired and replaced on Lee Lane. A catch basin on Main Street was repaired after a grade ring decomposed and caused a hole in the road. Potholes are being filled on a weekly basis. Gravel was added to Birch Lane to level it. Vehicle number 5, the 3/4 ton, was serviced as well, with some body work done to the box floor and rails. A new step for the 2-ton was fabricated, painted, and installed to make getting in and out of the box safer. New attachments were bought for one of the gas trimmers. They were a power broom and a cultivator. A clamshell was replaced on the light pole on Main Street, and Portage. It appears to have been struck by a tractor trailer. The day Venture Center parking lot was closed off to keep litterers out from after some complaints. And of course, that was reopened today. The basement floor of the Civic Center was painted, and trees behind the ball diamond were cut and chipped. The back stairs of the town hall were painted and traction grit added after the stair rubber treads were removed for safety's sake. The exit lights were serviced and new batteries installed. Deadbolts were installed in the IT server room and storage rooms within the town hall. And that was submitted by, once again, by Leonard Lee.
Thank you. Tourism report, Councillor Allison.
We received an email today stating that they're not sure when the tourist bureaus will be open. And so no information is going to be sent to the tourist bureaus. So once it opens, I will notify everybody. That's all I have, Your Worship.
Thank you. Economic Development, Councillor Murray.
Thank you. The following retail stores are still open, but are limiting customers and enforcing strict social distancing guidelines. Many have altered hours of operations as well. The following stores have remained open: LeBlanc's Independent Grocer, Country Market, Great Canadian Dollar Store, Granite Town Farms, Terry's Beef and More, Uncle Main's, Vance's Auto Supply, both local pharmacies, and restaurants and dining areas are closed, but takeout options are available. LeBlanc's is asking and encouraging customers to call or email in orders with the option for delivery. We are strongly encouraging residents to take this time to stay at home and do what we can to flatten the curve. And we are also in discussion on what our community garden season will look like this year. Please stay tuned for updates. And that is all, Your Worship.
Thank you so much. Bills paid and payable on the principal to March 31st, 2020, the amount of $128,081.10. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion to accept the report.
Motion made by Councillor Allison,
Second it.
I'll second it.
seconded by Councillor Murray. Any questions?
No.
Questions?
Good. Okay. Hearing no questions. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion, or all those opposed? Motion carried. New business, donation to the St. George Area Food Bank. As we know, the St. George Food Bank, it services many areas, not just St. George, but it is in dire need right now. It's being used probably 5-10 times as much as normal. Councillor Allison knows as well as I do, the food that's coming in is not equaling the food that is going out. So I would like to put a motion on the table if somebody, I guess I can't. I would like somebody to put a motion on the table.
I would like to put a motion on the table that we give the food bank $2,000 to help them out on behalf of the town.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion made by Councillor Allison, seconded by Councillor Murray. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Noted for Councillor Cook.
Yeah.
I would also like to add that this is not, it might not be a one-time thing. We might need to do it again, but we'll revisit this as needed.
Yeah.
Upcoming amendment to Bylaw 21, subdivision bylaw, Alex Henderson, SNBSC,
Bring Alex
that
back.
we talked about earlier.
Yeah, he's going to just give just a further update on
Sure.
the subdivision bylaw. And Alex, I think tonight, but we're just read through some of the summary of why we're putting why we're going to be
Sure.
going into doing an amendment on the subdivision bylaw. We won't be doing first and second reading tonight, but that will be
Okay.
for the May meeting. This is more of an introduction of why we're going to be looking at this bylaw for update.
Absolutely. So thanks, everybody. Again, this idea of this, it's actually a new subdivision bylaw. So it actually repeals the current subdivision bylaw 21A in its entirety and replaces it with subdivision bylaw 21B. And the reason you do a repeal in its entirety when only a few things are actually changing is because there's a new Community Planning Act, and you can't do amendments to bylaws that are done under the previous act. They have to be all brought up and done under the authority of the new act. So anyhow, the basic change that is being proposed here to council is to include more exemptions for subdivisions from having to provide lands for public purposes. So right now, if you do a subdivision in St. George, every subdivision has to have lands for public purposes in the amount of 8% of the land being subdivided, or cash in lieu. So it could potentially be thousands of dollars. And what planning staff's recommended council to consider is creating additional exemptions through subdivision bylaw 21B that would serve the public interest in St. George by encouraging desirable infill development, which means utilizing existing frontage. So example, if you have a double wide lot, and you wanted to make another lot there for building, it's already serviced, there's no extra cost to the town, and it's great for overall sustainability, financial sustainability of St. George. And so you're encouraging that kind of development with this new bylaw because you exempt them from having to give 8% either cash or land. And we've recommended a similar approach to other communities in the region. But also this subdivision bylaw includes new fees. Currently, it's just $100, no matter what kind of subdivision you're doing, no matter if you're doing 50 lots or one lot, $100. We don't recommend that approach. We recommend actually charging a fair amount for services rendered, and larger subdivisions are more complex and require significant amounts of more time. So we've introduced, with this proposed bylaw, a suggested fee schedule, which matches what the province already charges in the LSDs around St. George. So there's two types of subdivisions, type 1 and type 2. Type 1 is where you have an existing street, like the double wide lot scenario. So $200 plus $25 for each lot. Type 2 is where you're creating a new access, either a new street that the council has to approve, or private access, which the planning committee approves. So that's $500 plus $50 for each lot. Now you have extra fees, and these extra fees go to the municipality. So they go back to St. George. The Regional Service Commission cannot keep any of these fees. So they're actually just extra revenue for municipality. So you're trading, in my recommendation here to council, is that you're trading potentially, could potentially be thousands of dollars in the 8% contribution for these reasonable fees. So in one way, it's better for the municipality and better for residents, because I feel like these fees will actually match the service rendered, and you're not holding up desirable development, especially infill development. So the bylaw is attached, I think, to your report, or you're gonna have a look at it in May. I'll be definitely available in May for more questions, and as you look at it and digest all the information and decide what you want to do. Thank you.
So Alex, what you're saying is the 8% is going to be now type 1 subdivision or type 2 subdivision? So the 8% is going to be gone?
Well, no, 8% will still be in there. You still need to have, as a general principle, have land for public purposes. And that's a great question, and thanks for the opportunity to clarify. The 8% lands for public purposes should apply in subdivisions where you have multi-lot, you're creating a new road, and council would need to supply parkland to service the new development. That's what the legislation intends when they encourage setting an amount, which council can decide what amount it is, up to 10%. And council has 8% currently. So having 8% of the total development area for parklands is intended to alleviate the council from having to dip into capital reserve to service that new development with parkland, buying up land somewhere else. Now, when you're creating an infill lot, and what I meant by that is you already have frontage, you're already on a street, you're just creating a single building lot next to your house, for example, vacant land. you still have to do the 8% under the current bylaw, but it creates a bit of an onerous process for people going through this.
Don't know if that, yeah. And then on top of that, you got to pay the 200 plus the 25 each for each lot. So you pay 200 plus the $25.
Yeah, so right now, you just have to pay $100,
Right.
but you have to contribute 8% of your land to the municipality, or 8% of the market value of the land in cash to the municipality. So it could potentially be several $1,000s to do a subdivision in St. George, even if you're in that kind of scenario where you have a double wide lot on an existing road with existing services. So this would actually reduce the cost for someone like that.
Okay. So it's 8% of the cost of the land that is what it costs to own the land. Like say if it was 25,000, it's 8% of that.
Yeah.
Whoa. And then the additional 200 plus the $25.
So
We'll have to look at it.
With the proposed new subdivision, there'll still always be the need for the 8% of property, but the 8% value will change. So we won't be seeing 8% of a value. We'll be seeing, the fee schedule that's there. So, we're just for somebody, subdividing in lots, is still having to pay that 8% or 8% of a property. It's not really, doesn't benefit development in the town. So, if anything right now, it's substantial what we're looking for 8% for a single subdivision of property. This new bylaw will sort of make it easier for a developer to subdivide, but there'll still be for other larger subdivisions, there'll still be the need for the 8% property.
We'll have to look at it and talk about it.
Yep.
Thanks, Alex.
thank you, guys.
Okay, is that everything? Any other questions?
Nope.
Okay, thank you, Alex.
You're welcome.
Moving on to old business, resolution of council of a third and final reading of bylaw number 85, garbage and recyclables collection. This was tabled from December 5th, 2019, and I believe we're going to let this remain table probably till May.
We still have, I think there's just a few items that were left to discuss. I've sent those, I'll send it a draft of the current bylaw, the way that it stands to council this week. But we've pretty much met a few of the issues that were brought up regarding sort of restricting the type of containers that could be put curbside. I think that was Councillor Cook that sort of brought up that maybe we just identify what is restricted. So we've done that into the bylaw. We've actually said, here's what's restricted for curbside containers. So we've highlighted that part of it, and we've readdressed as well the number of bags that's out there. So I'll send that out for council to review, but I think that May's meeting, it should be brought forward and be ready to go.
Perfect, thank you. Resolution of council of a third and final reading of bylaw number 83, tourism accommodation levy, table from December 5th, 2019. Do I have a motion to bring this forward?
I'll make a motion to bring it forward.
Motion made by Councillor Allison. Do I have a seconder? Do I have a seconder?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Councillor Murray. Okay, do I have a motion to move forward and approve this bylaw?
I just wanted one question.
Well, let's get the motion on the table first, and then we'll do question.
It's already motioned in second, so
No, that was to bring it forward.
Yeah, still in the motion of bringing it forward. So
Go ahead, Sterling.
I just want to know, did we get this? Because I didn't see it. I didn't look at it, and I didn't see where it was done with the with the campgrounds. That'll get all straightened out, Jason?
Everything was straightened out.
And
The main issues that we had with the campground was long-term campsites.
Right.
So those long-term campsites don't apply. That would be for overnight campsites.
okay, sounds good. I
We
thought
have
that-
met with the local accommodations that are here in the town, and they've looked at the bylaw, and they agree that that the funds raised should be going to the town for promotion of the town, more of a local initiative versus a regional initiative. And that's how
That was my question. It's going to the 3.5%
yes, yeah,
will
3.5.
go to the town.
Yes.
Any other questions? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve?
Point of order. I'm just wondering why you have to go and do both. What's the purpose of moving it forward and then going into a motion?
Still
Aren't
have
they
still have a
both?
bit of a motion on the floor to bring it forward, so we need to take care of that part of it, and then we'll just have to then raise a resolution for third and final reading. So if we can just finish up the motion that's still out there for bringing it forward.
Okay, so we're moving it forward from December to now. Is that what you're saying? That's what we're voting on right now?
Yes.
Aye.
So if we can still deal with
We
that.
need a motion.
So we have a motion from
I'll
Allison
make that
and
motion.
Murray. So we'll just need to have question.
Is everybody,
Question.
any other questions? Questions been called? All those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried.
And so now we can certainly we can do the resolution for third and final reading now that it's.
Right. A resolution of council for the third and final reading of bylaw number 83, tourism accommodation levy tabled from, brought forward in this meeting. Do I have a motion for that?
Moved.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Harris,
I'll second it.
seconded by Councilor Allison. Any questions? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried.
So just a point of order, Jason, when we do this, we table it from December to now, we have to have a motion to bring it forward?
Yes, motion was to table it, so we'll have to, has to be brought forward and so I guess untabled. I don't think that's even a word, but
Oh, I know what you mean, but I didn't know we had to do that. I just presumed we were right into the resolution and doing the motion on the resolution we talked about. I didn't know we had to move it forward, so.
was a little sometimes question around that, whether, you have to make a motion to bring it forward, but I guess in the spirit of trying to ensure that we're 100% consistent, it's good to have the motion to bring it out.
Yeah, and I just wondering because usually you table it to the next meeting. We've already done that back in December. So I just thought that, and that's why it was confusing. I didn't realize we were doing the motion to forward too.
Yeah.
Here on this date.
Yeah.
Okay.
Resolution of council of a third and final reading of bylaw number 86, council code of conduct, tabled from March 9th, 2020. So do I have a motion to bring it forward?
I'll make that.
So
motion.
moved.
Motion made by Deputy Mayor Harris, seconded by Councillor Cook.
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Resolution of council of a third and final reading of the bylaw number 86, code of conduct. Do I have a motion to approve this?
So moved.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Harris. Do I have a seconder?
I'll second.
Second by Councillor Murray. Hearing no question, all those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Full-time public works labor operator position. This was tabled from March 9th, 2020 meeting. I would like a motion to move this forward.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Councillor Murray,
I'll second it.
seconded by Councillor Allison. All those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Full-time public works labor operator position. Do I have a motion for this? And I would like to, no, I don't. Do I have a motion for this?
I'll make that motion. I'll
Everett
make
made it.
that motion.
Okay, Deputy Mayor Harris is making that motion.
No, Everett
No.
made it.
Oh,
Ever Cook.
sorry, Councillor Cook,
I'll second it.
seconded by Councillor Murray. I would like to make a addition to this that we would do the hiring as of May 1st
Yeah,
and going forward from then.
yeah, that was the original, I believe that was the original intent for the hiring would be for May 1st, 2020.
Perfect. Any questions?
I think
Hearing-
it's really important that we do this right now with all this going on. We never know when one could get sick, and it's nice to have the extra hands there.
Perfect, yes.
And just,
Okay.
I'll just add into that, that was as well budgeted. This is not a new budget item. This was budgeted for 2020 as well for that other employee.
Okay.
Good.
Okay,
Question,
do we have a motion? We do?
Yep.
motion, question.
Any questions? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Correspondence. We have received a letter from Minister Bill Oliver regarding Lateet Road slope erosion, a positive feedback regarding this and upcoming road repairs. So it was good to receive that. I don't know if Jason wants to speak on that or.
Yeah, we've been in correspondence with the province regarding a slope erosion issue brought up on Route 172, the Lateet Road. This would be just a little ways past the Irving, past the I guess the old Sure Gain building that's there on Lateet Road.
Years. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's some slope erosion there. So we've had some very positive movement with that with the province. They are fully aware, and certainly a thanks goes out to the industrial park tenants that we have in St. George for supporting this initiative too. So looks very favorable that everything's going to move ahead for 2020 to address that issue.
Perfect. Thank you. Any statements by members of council? Well, I'd like to make one. Not only our fire department, but our works crew, as well as our office workers, they're in every day. They're handling everything just as if it's a normal day. It's not. We're working with a lot of different roadblocks, I guess. So hats off to all of them for going out every day and doing what they have to do and getting it done.
I think that's like every business in St. George right now. They're all doing an amazing job.
They are. Okay,
And the community also is doing a great job by staying home and staying in and helping. Work looks good for the town.
perfect. Public presentations.
We're just going to just check to see if there's been any statements that that can be brought forward, and just if we can just hold and see. I don't believe that there is at this point. And it just reminded as well that any residents that are looking at making statements or have any correspondence that they wish to bring forward for the town, certainly they can do that. We are still answering phone calls here at the town, and so you can call us during regular business hours, email info@town.stgeorge.mb.ca, and certainly as well through Facebook. So we're certainly always open for comments or any letters that we can put into correspondence for the next regular meeting of council too. We can certainly accept those.
And I'd like to also mention that every one of us on council, we're available if anybody wants to contact us.
Yeah. So I guess hearing no statements.
Nothing? Okay, so the date of the next regular meeting is Monday, May 11th, 2020 at 7 p.m.
Somewhere.
Where, we're not sure yet. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second it.
I'll take that, but that's usually Sterling's job.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, Sterling.
Okay. Sorry, it's 8 o'clock now. It's time to go.
Well, thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next month.
Thank you all.